If you're over 60 and walking is your only form of exercise, I have some shocking news for you. Walking alone isn't enough to protect your heart, and it might even be giving you a false sense of security. My name is Heart Health, after 60, and last year I interviewed Dr. Michael Chen, a cardiovascular surgeon with over 30 years of experience treating senior patients. He told me something that completely changed how I think about exercise after 60. He said, "Walking is good, but it's not enough. I see patients every week who walk daily but still end up with heart problems because they're missing the other critical movements their hearts desperately need." That conversation led me down a research rabbit hole, and what I discovered will probably surprise you. The American Heart Association's guidelines for seniors have been updated, but most people over 60 haven't heard about these changes. Walking is still important, but there are 5 specific types of movements that are actually more protective for your aging heart. In the next 24 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what these 5 movements are, how to do them safely from the comfort of your own home, and why they're more effective than walking for strengthening your heart after 60. Most of these can be done while sitting in a chair, so even if you have mobility issues, you can still do them. Now, before we dive in, I need to tell you something important. Exercise number 3 is the most powerful one for heart health, and it only takes 2 minutes. But you need to understand exercises 1 and 2 first, because they prepare your body for that critical third movement. So please don't skip ahead. If you're ready to learn how to actually strengthen your heart instead of just maintaining it, let's get started. And if you find this valuable, please hit that subscribe button because next week I'm releasing a video about the 5 foods that enhance these exercises and make them even more effective. Alright, let's talk about why walking alone isn't enough for your heart after 60. For decades, doctors told us that walking was the perfect exercise for seniors. And to be fair, walking is good. It's low impact, accessible, and better than sitting on the couch. But here's what your doctor probably didn't tell you. After age 60, your body needs more than just steady-state cardio. Let me explain what happens to your heart and cardiovascular system as you age. Your heart muscle naturally loses some of its strength and flexibility. The walls of your heart chambers can become slightly stiffer, and your maximum heart rate decreases. This is completely normal aging, but here's the problem. Walking at a comfortable pace doesn't challenge your heart enough to maintain or improve its strength. A groundbreaking study published in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology in 2023 followed over 5,000 adults aged 60 to 75 for 3 years. They found that seniors who only walked had minimal improvement in their heart's ejection fraction, which is basically how efficiently your heart pumps blood. But seniors who combined walking with resistance movements and interval-style exercises saw an average 18% improvement in heart function. That's a massive difference. Dr. Benjamin Levine, a cardiologist at UT Southwestern Medical Center, has spent his career studying exercise and the aging heart. He conducted an experiment where he took sedentary seniors and put half of them on a walking-only program, and the other half on a varied exercise program that included resistance, balance, and short bursts of higher intensity movement. After 6 months, the walking-only group showed modest improvements. But the varied exercise group, their hearts literally became younger, the stiffness in their heart muscle reversed, and their cardiovascular fitness improved by over 30%. Here's another critical point. Walking primarily works your legs in one repetitive motion. It doesn't challenge your upper body, it doesn't significantly strengthen your core, and it doesn't train your heart to adapt to different types of stress. Your heart needs variety, just like your muscles do. Think about it this way. If you only ever lifted a 5-pound weight with your left arm, would you expect your right arm to get strong? Of course not. Similarly, if you only do one type of movement, you're not training all the different capacities your heart needs to stay healthy. I'm not saying you should stop walking. Walking is still valuable, especially for maintaining mobility and mental health. But if walking is your only exercise, you're leaving your heart vulnerable. The 5 movements I'm about to show you will fill in the critical gaps that walking alone cannot address. Now, let's move on to the first exercise, and this one is specifically designed to strengthen your heart's pumping capacity while building the leg muscles that support healthy circulation. Exercise number 1, chair squats. I know what you might be thinking. Squats sound difficult and dangerous at my age. But hear me out, because chair squats are completely different from regular squats, and they're actually one of the safest and most effective exercises for senior heart health. Here's why chair squats are so powerful. When you sit down and stand up, you're using the largest muscle groups in your body: your quadriceps, hamstrings, and glutes. These are the same muscles that help pump blood back to your heart from your lower body. In fact, your leg muscles act like a secondary pump for your cardiovascular system. When these muscles are weak, your heart has to work much harder to circulate blood. A study from the Mayo Clinic found that seniors who could perform chair squats had significantly better cardiovascular outcomes than those who couldn't. The ability to sit and stand without using your hands is actually a predictor of longevity and heart health. It's that important. Let me tell you about Margaret, a 8-year-old patient that Dr. Chen told me about. She came to him with high blood pressure and complained that walking left her exhausted. He had her start doing chair squats, just 5 repetitions, twice a day. Within 3 weeks, her resting heart rate dropped by 8 beats per minute, and she reported having more energy throughout the day. After 3 months of gradually increasing her repetitions, her blood pressure medications were reduced. The chair squats literally made her heart more efficient. Here's how to do chair squats safely and effectively. You'll need a sturdy chair, one that doesn't have wheels and won't slide. The chair should be at a height where your knees are at about a 90-degree angle when you sit. If your chair is too low, put a cushion on it to raise the height. This is important because you don't want to go too deep initially. Start by sitting in the chair with your feet flat on the floor, about hip width apart. Your feet should be slightly forward of your knees. Place your hands on your thighs or cross them over your chest, whichever feels more comfortable. Now, here's the key. You're going to stand up using primarily your leg muscles, not by pushing with your hands or rocking forward. Keep your chest up, engage your core, and press through your heels to stand. Once you're standing, pause for just a moment at the top. Feel your leg muscles working. Then, slowly lower yourself back down to the chair. The lowering portion is actually just as important as the standing portion because it builds muscle control and strength. Don't just drop into the chair, control the descent. That controlled lowering is what really challenges your muscles and gets your heart rate up in a healthy way. When you first start, aim for just 5 repetitions. Yes, only 5. You might think that's not enough, but trust me, if you're doing them correctly with control, 5 is plenty to start. Rest for a minute, then do another set of 5. That's it for day 1. As the days go by and this becomes easier, you can gradually increase to 8 repetitions, then 10, then eventually 15. But there's no rush. The goal is consistency and proper form, not heroic numbers. The beauty of chair squats is that they create what's called interval training for your heart without the high impact of running or jumping. Each time you stand up, your heart rate increases. Each time you sit and rest, it recovers. This up and down pattern trains your heart to adapt to changing demands, which is exactly what it needs to stay healthy and resilient. You should aim to do chair squats 3 times per day: morning, afternoon, and evening. It only takes 2 minutes each time, so that's just 6 minutes total per day. But those 6 minutes will do more for your heart than 30 minutes of casual walking. Now, let's move on to exercise number 2, and this one specifically targets something that walking almost completely misses: your upper body and the muscles around your rib cage that help your heart and lungs work efficiently. Exercise number 2, wall push-ups. Before you say, "I can't do push-ups," let me stop you right there. Wall push-ups are completely different from floor push-ups. They're gentle, they're safe, and they're specifically designed for seniors. But more importantly, they strengthen a part of your cardiovascular system that most people completely ignore. Here's something most people don't realize. Your heart sits in your chest cavity, surrounded by your rib cage and supported by your chest muscles, shoulder muscles, and the muscles between your ribs. These muscles play a crucial role in helping your lungs expand and contract, which directly affects how efficiently your heart can pump oxygenated blood throughout your body. When these upper body muscles are weak, your breathing becomes shallow and your heart has to beat faster to compensate for the reduced oxygen in each breath. It's like trying to fill a pool with a tiny bucket instead of a hose. You have to make many more trips to get the same amount of water. Dr. James O'Keefe, a cardiologist at St. Luke's Mid-America Heart Institute, conducted research on the connection between upper body strength and heart health in seniors. What he found was remarkable. Seniors with stronger chest and shoulder muscles had lower rates of heart disease, better blood pressure control, and improved overall cardiovascular function. The reason is that these muscles support better posture, deeper breathing, and more efficient oxygen utilization. I spoke with a physical therapist who specializes in cardiac rehabilitation, and she told me that one of the first things they have heart attack survivors do is gentle upper body strengthening. Not because it directly works the heart muscle, but because it improves the entire system that supports heart function. Let me tell you about Robert, a 72-year-old man who could barely climb a flight of stairs without getting winded. His doctor cleared him for exercise and suggested wall push-ups along with his regular walking routine. Let me tell you about Robert, a 72-year-old man who could barely climb a flight of stairs without getting winded. His doctor cleared him for exercise and suggested wall push-ups along with his regular walking routine. Robert was skeptical. He thought push-ups were for young athletes, not someone his age. But he tried them anyway. Here's what happened. After just 2 weeks of doing wall push-ups twice a day, Robert noticed he could take deeper breaths. After a month, climbing stairs became easier. After 3 months, his resting heart rate had dropped from 82 beats per minute to 68. His cardiologist was stunned by the improvement in his cardiovascular efficiency. So how do you do wall push-ups correctly? Find a sturdy wall, not a door, because doors can move. Stand about 2 feet away from the wall, feet hip-width apart. Place your palms flat against the wall at shoulder height and shoulder width apart. Your body should form a straight line from your head to your heels. Now, keeping your body straight and your core engaged, slowly bend your elbows and lean toward the wall. Go as far as is comfortable, even if it's just a few inches at first. Your elbows should point slightly downward, not straight out to the sides. This protects your shoulders and puts the focus on your chest muscles. Pause when you're close to the wall, then push yourself back to the starting position. That's 1 repetition. The key is to move slowly and with control. This isn't about speed. It's about engaging those chest and shoulder muscles in a way that supports your cardiovascular system. Start with just 5 to 8 repetitions. Rest for a minute, then do another set. As this becomes easier over the next few weeks, you can either increase your repetitions or stand farther from the wall to make it more challenging. The farther you stand from the wall, the more body weight you're supporting, and the harder your muscles have to work. The beautiful thing about wall push-ups is they also improve your posture. Many seniors develop a forward slouch from years of sitting, and this compressed posture restricts the chest cavity, making it harder for the heart and lungs to function optimally. Wall push-ups gently reverse this by strengthening the muscles that pull your shoulders back and open up your chest. Do wall push-ups twice per day, once in the morning and once in the evening. Combined with your chair squats, you're now exercising 6 times per day in just 12 minutes total. And you're already doing more for your heart than walking alone could ever accomplish. Now let's move to exercise number 3, and this is the one I mentioned at the beginning. It's the most powerful exercise for heart health, and it only takes 2 minutes. This is the exercise that will make the biggest difference in how your heart functions. Exercise number 3, arm circles with coordinated breathing. This might sound simple, but this exercise is a game changer. It combines 3 critical elements that your aging heart needs: upper body movement, controlled breathing, and gentle cardiovascular stimulation. Together, these 3 elements create what cardiologists call active recovery exercise, movement that strengthens your heart while teaching it to work more efficiently. Here's the science. As we age, we tend to take shallow breaths, using only the top portion of our lungs. This shallow breathing means less oxygen gets into our bloodstream with each breath, forcing our heart to beat faster to deliver adequate oxygen to our body. It's incredibly inefficient and stressful for the heart. A study from Stanford University Medical Center found that seniors who practiced coordinated breathing exercises showed a 22% improvement in their heart's stroke volume. That's the amount of blood your heart pumps with each beat. Better stroke volume means your heart doesn't have to beat as many times per minute to deliver the same amount of blood. That's efficiency. That's what we want. Dr. Andrew Weil, a pioneer in integrative medicine, has said that proper breathing is the single most important thing you can do for your heart and overall health. But most people don't breathe properly because they've never been taught how. This exercise will teach you. I want to share a story about Linda, a 65-year-old woman who came to a cardiac rehabilitation program after a minor heart incident. Her resting heart rate was 88 beats per minute, which is high for someone at rest. The cardiac nurse taught her this exact arm circle breathing exercise. Linda did it faithfully, twice a day, for 6 weeks. When she returned for her follow-up, her resting heart rate was down to 72 beats per minute. That's a 16-beat reduction without any medication, just from teaching her heart to work more efficiently through proper breathing and movement. Here's how to do arm circles with coordinated breathing. Stand or sit in a sturdy chair with your back straight. If you're sitting, make sure your feet are flat on the floor. Let your arms hang naturally at your sides. We're going to do this in a specific rhythm. Breathe in through your nose for 4 counts while slowly raising your arms out to the sides and up over your head in a wide circle. Your palms should be facing forward as you lift. When your arms reach the top, your hands should be directly above your head, reaching toward the ceiling. Then, breathe out through your mouth for 4 counts while slowly lowering your arms back down to your sides in the same circular motion. That's 1 complete cycle. The key is coordinating your breathing with the movement. Breathe in as you raise your arms, breathe out as you lower them. Now, here's what makes this so powerful. The arm movement opens up your chest cavity and forces your lungs to expand fully. The slow, controlled breathing ensures you're taking deep breaths that fill your lungs completely. And the coordination between breath and movement creates a rhythmic pattern that actually helps regulate your heart rate. Do this exercise for just 2 minutes. That's only about 15 to 20 complete cycles. You can do it twice a day, once in the morning and once before bed. Many people find it so relaxing that it helps them sleep better, which is another benefit for heart health since quality sleep is crucial for cardiovascular recovery. Some seniors tell me they feel lightheaded when they first try this exercise. If that happens to you, it just means you're not used to breathing deeply. Your body will adjust. Just do fewer repetitions at first, maybe only 5 or 6 cycles, and gradually build up as your body adapts to receiving more oxygen. This exercise is also perfect to do when you're feeling stressed or anxious because it activates your parasympathetic nervous system, the part of your nervous system that tells your heart to calm down and relax. Stress is one of the biggest risk factors for heart disease in seniors, and this simple 2-minute exercise is like a reset button for your entire cardiovascular system. All right, we're more than halfway through, and you now know 3 powerful exercises that do more for your heart than walking alone. But we have 2 more to cover, and exercise number 4 specifically addresses something that's crucial for seniors: circulation in your lower legs, which affects your heart more than you might think. Exercise number 4. Seated marching. This one might seem too simple to be effective, but don't let its simplicity fool you. Seated marching is one of the most underrated exercises for senior heart health, and it targets a problem that affects millions of people over 60, poor circulation in the lower legs. Here's what happens as we age. The veins in our legs have to work against gravity to push blood back up to our heart. When we're young, the muscles in our legs act like pumps, squeezing the veins and helping push that blood upward. But as we get older and become less active, those leg muscles weaken, and blood starts pooling in our lower legs and feet. This is why so many seniors experience swollen ankles and feet by the end of the day. When blood pools in your legs, it's not circulating back to your heart efficiently. This means your heart has to work harder to pump fresh, oxygenated blood throughout your body because it's not getting adequate blood return from your lower body. It's a vicious cycle. Weak leg muscles lead to poor circulation, which leads to a harder working heart, which leads to fatigue, which leads to less activity, which leads to weaker muscles. And round it goes. Dr. Marvin Moser, a hypertension specialist who worked with thousands of senior patients, found that seniors who did regular leg activation exercises had significantly better blood pressure control than those who didn't. The reason is simple. When you strengthen the muscles that help pump blood back to your heart doesn't have to generate as much pressure to circulate blood. Lower pressure equals lower blood pressure readings. Let me tell you about George, a 70-year-old retired teacher. He had developed chronic swelling in his ankles, and his doctor told him it was just part of getting older. But George didn't accept that. He started doing seated marching every day while watching television. After just 1 week, he noticed his ankles were less swollen in the evenings. After a month, the swelling was gone completely. His doctor was amazed and asked what he'd been doing differently. When George told him about the seated marching, the doctor started recommending it to his other senior patients. Here's how to do seated marching properly. Sit in a sturdy chair with your back supported and your feet flat on the floor. Your thighs should be parallel to the floor or your knees slightly lower than your hips. This position is important because it allows for a full range of motion. Now, simply lift your right knee up toward your chest as high as comfortable. It doesn't need to be high, even a few inches is effective. Then lower it back down while simultaneously lifting your left knee up. Continue alternating legs as if you're marching in place while sitting down. Your arms can rest on the chair armrests, or you can swing them gently at your sides to mimic natural walking motion. The key is to maintain a steady rhythm and keep your core engaged. Don't slouch back in the chair. Sit up tall and really focus on lifting your knees with your hip flexors and thigh muscles. You should feel these muscles working. Start with just 1 minute of seated marching. 1 minute might not sound like much, but you'll be surprised how much it engages your muscles and gets your heart rate up. As you get stronger, you can increase to 2 minutes, then 3. Eventually, you might work up to 5 minutes at a time. The wonderful thing about seated marching is you can do it anywhere, anytime. Watching TV, do some seated marching during commercials. Sitting at the kitchen table, march for a minute. Waiting for your doctor's appointment, march in the waiting room chair. It's that easy and that convenient. Try to do seated marching at least 3 times per day. Each session only needs to be 1 to 2 minutes, so that's just 3 to 6 minutes total. But those few minutes are actively training your leg muscles to pump blood more efficiently back to your heart. One more tip. You can make this exercise more effective by flexing your feet as you march. Point your toes up toward your shin as you lift each knee. This engages your calf muscles, which are often called the second heart because they're so important for pumping blood up from your feet. The more you activate those calf muscles, the better your circulation becomes. Now we're ready for the 5th and final exercise, and this one ties everything together. It's a breathing technique that you can use throughout the day to keep your heart rate steady and your blood pressure controlled. This is the exercise that will give you moment-to-moment control over your cardiovascular system. Exercise number 5. The 4-7-8 breathing technique. This is the most powerful breathing exercise for heart health, and it's been studied extensively by cardiologists and pulmonologists around the world. What makes it so effective is that it directly activates your vagus nerve, the nerve that controls your heart rate and tells your heart when to slow down and relax. Here's why this matters. Many seniors live in a state of chronic low-level stress. Maybe you worry about your health, your family, your finances. Maybe you don't even realize you're stressed, but your body does. When you're stressed, your sympathetic nervous system is activated. This is your fight or flight response. It makes your heart beat faster and raises your blood pressure. That's fine for short bursts, but when it's chronic, it's incredibly damaging to your heart. The 4-7-8 breathing technique activates the opposite system, your parasympathetic nervous system, or your rest and digest response. It literally tells your heart to slow down, your blood vessels to relax, and your blood pressure to decrease. It's like having a remote control for your cardiovascular system. Dr. Herbert Benson at Harvard Medical School pioneered research into what he called the relaxation response back in the 1970 seconds, and he found that specific breathing patterns could lower blood pressure, reduce heart rate, and decrease the risk of heart disease. The 4-7-8 breathing technique is one of the most effective patterns he identified. A more recent study from the University of California, San Diego, followed 200 seniors with high blood pressure. Half were given medication adjustments, and half were taught breathing exercises like the 4-7-8 technique. After 8 weeks, both groups showed improvement, but the breathing exercise group had an additional benefit: their heart rate variability improved. Heart rate variability is a measure of how adaptable your heart is, and better variability means a healthier, more resilient heart. Let me share a story about Patricia, a 6-8-year-old woman with anxiety and high blood pressure. She was on 2 medications, but her blood pressure was still borderline high at 145/90. Her cardiologist taught her the 4-7-8 breathing technique and asked her to do it 3 times per day. Patricia was skeptical, but tried it anyway. Within 2 weeks, her blood pressure dropped to 135/82. After 2 months of consistent practice, it was down to 128/78, and her doctor was able to reduce one of her medications. Patricia told me that she now does this breathing exercise whenever she feels stressed, and it's like an instant reset button for her body. Here's how to do the 4-7-8 breathing technique. You can do this sitting or lying down, whatever is most comfortable. Place the tip of your tongue against the ridge of tissue behind your upper front teeth. You'll keep it there throughout the entire exercise. First, exhale completely through your mouth, making a whooshing sound. This empties your lungs completely. Then close your mouth and inhale quietly through your nose while mentally counting to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Your lungs should be comfortably full, but not bursting. Now, hold your breath for a count of 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is where the magic happens. This breath hold allows oxygen to be absorbed into your bloodstream and carbon dioxide to be released from your bloodstream. It's resetting your blood chemistry in a healthy way. Finally, exhale completely through your mouth, making that whooshing sound again while counting to 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Push all the air out. That's one complete cycle. When you first start, do only 4 cycles at a time. That's 4 breaths. Inhale for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8. 4 times. Don't do more than 4 cycles when you're beginning, because you might feel lightheaded if you're not used to this much oxygen. As you practice over several weeks, you can gradually increase to 8 cycles per session. The numbers are important. 4 seconds in, 7 seconds hold, 8 seconds out. That ratio is what activates your vagus nerve and triggers the relaxation response. If you can't hold for 7 seconds or exhale for 8 seconds when you first start, that's okay. Just do your best and keep the ratio as close as possible. Your lung capacity will improve with practice. Do this exercise 3 times per day. Once in the morning right after you wake up, once in the afternoon, and once before bed. Each session takes less than 2 minutes. But those 6 minutes, spread throughout your day, will have a profound effect on your heart rate, blood pressure, and overall cardiovascular health. Many people also find this technique helpful in specific situations. Before a doctor's appointment to calm your nerves, when you can't sleep at night, after you receive stressful news, or whenever you feel your heart racing. It's like carrying a pharmacy in your lungs, free, always available, and with only positive side effects. All right, you now know all 5 exercises, but knowing them doesn't help unless you actually do them consistently. So let me give you a simple weekly plan that puts all of this together in a way that's easy to follow and sustainable. Here's your simple weekly plan to incorporate all 5 exercises into your daily routine. Remember, consistency beats perfection. It's better to do these exercises at a moderate level every single day than to do them intensely for a few days and then give up. Monday through Sunday, every single day, this is your routine. Morning. Start your day with the 4-7-8 breathing exercise. 4 cycles, less than 2 minutes. Then do 1 set of chair squats, 5 to 10 repetitions. Follow that with 1 set of wall push-ups, 5 to 8 repetitions. Total morning time, about 6 minutes. Afternoon, do your seated marching, 1 to 2 minutes. Then do arm circles with coordinated breathing, 2 minutes. That's 3 to 4 minutes total in the afternoon. Evening, before dinner, do another set of chair, squats, and wall push-ups. After dinner, while watching TV, do another session of seated marching. Before bed, do your final 4-7-8 breathing exercise. That's it. That's the plan. If you add up all the time, it's about 15 to 20 minutes spread throughout your entire day. But here's what's amazing. You're exercising 9 times per day. 9 opportunities to strengthen your heart and improve your cardiovascular system. Compare that to walking once per day for 30 minutes. Yes, the walking is good, but these 9 mini sessions throughout the day keep your heart active and adapting all day long. After 2 weeks of following this plan, you should notice that you have more energy, you sleep better, and you feel stronger. After a month, you'll notice that daily activities are easier, climbing stairs, carrying groceries, playing with grandchildren. After 3 months, if you get a checkup, don't be surprised if your doctor comments on improvements in your heart rate, blood pressure, or overall cardiovascular health. Remember, you can still walk. I'm not saying to give up walking. Walking is wonderful for your mental health, for maintaining mobility, and for getting fresh air and sunshine. But now you understand that walking alone isn't enough. These 5 exercises fill in the critical gaps that walking cannot address. One final thought. These exercises work best when combined with the right nutrition. Remember in our last video when I talked about the 5 foods to avoid after 60? Those dietary changes, combined with these 5 exercises, create a comprehensive approach to heart health. Your heart needs both the right fuel and the right movement. Before you go, please do me 3 favors. First, hit that thumbs up button if you found this helpful. It helps other seniors find this life-saving information. Second, subscribe to this channel and click the bell so you don't miss our next video, which will be about specific heart-healthy foods that enhance these exercises and make them even more effective. And third, share this video with any friends or family members over 60 who need to hear this information. You might literally save someone's life. Drop a comment below and let me know. Which of these 5 exercises are you going to start today? And if you have questions about how to do any of them safely, ask in the comments, and I'll respond. Remember, it's never too late to make your heart stronger. Your heart has been beating for you every second of every day for your entire life. It's time to give it the support it deserves. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care of that heart. If you're over 60 and you're eating the breakfast food I'm about to reveal, you could be damaging your heart every single bite. And here's what makes this even more disturbing. It's the one breakfast food that cardiologists absolutely refuse to eat themselves, yet they rarely warn their senior patients about it. My name is Heart Health. After 60, and 3 months ago, I sat down for coffee with Dr. Sarah Mitchell, a cardiologist at Cleveland Clinic who specializes in preventive cardiology for seniors. We were talking about the rising rates of heart disease in people over 60, and I asked her a simple question. What's the one thing you wish your senior patients would stop doing? Without hesitation, she said, I wish they would stop eating that breakfast food everyone thinks is healthy. You know, the one that comes in a box with pictures of hearts and whole grains all over it. I see patients every week who are doing everything else right. They're taking their medications, they're exercising, they're watching their salt intake, but they're sabotaging all of that with their breakfast choice. And most of them have no idea. That conversation haunted me because I realized she was talking about a food that millions of seniors eat every single morning, thinking they're making a healthy choice. A food that's been marketed to us for decades as heart healthy, as the perfect way to start your day, as the smart choice for people concerned about their cardiovascular health. But the science tells a completely different story. In the next 22 minutes, I'm going to reveal exactly what this breakfast food is, why it's so dangerous for your heart after age 60, and most importantly, what you should eat instead. I'll share the latest research from cardiology journals, real patient stories from doctors across the country, and a simple 7-day plan to transition away from this harmful food to breakfasts that actually protect your aging heart. Now, I need you to keep watching because I'm not going to reveal what this food is right away. First, you need to understand why it's so dangerous after 60, because once you understand the mechanism of harm, you'll never look at this food the same way again. And here's a hint. Even if you think you already know what food I'm talking about, the reasons it's harmful will probably surprise you. Before we continue, if you're getting value from this video, please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. Last week, we talked about the 5 heart-healthy foods to avoid after 60, and the week before that, we covered the 5 exercises that are better than walking for senior heart health. This video is the 3rd in our comprehensive series on protecting your heart after 60, and I don't want you to miss what's coming next. Alright, let's start by talking about why your breakfast choice matters more after 60 than at any other time in your life. Why breakfast matters after 60. Here's something most people don't understand about aging and heart health. What you eat for breakfast has a more dramatic impact on your cardiovascular system after age 60 than it did when you were younger. And there's a specific physiological reason for this that has to do with something called morning metabolic vulnerability. Let me explain. When you wake up in the morning, your body has been fasting for 8 to 12 hours. During that time, your liver has been carefully managing your blood sugar levels to keep your brain and organs functioning. But here's what changes after 60. your body's ability to regulate blood sugar becomes less efficient. Your cells become more resistant to insulin, your pancreas doesn't respond as quickly, and your metabolism has naturally slowed down. A groundbreaking study published in the journal Circulation in 2022 followed over 8,000 adults aged 60 to 80 for 5 years. The researchers found something remarkable. The people who experienced blood sugar spikes in the first 2 hours after waking had a 43% higher risk of cardiovascular events compared to those whose blood sugar remained stable. That's not a small difference, that's massive. Dr. Mark Hyman, director of the Cleveland Clinic Center for Functional Medicine, puts it this way: your first meal of the day sets your metabolic tone for the entire day. If you spike your blood sugar at breakfast, you're essentially telling your body to stay in an inflammatory state all day long. And for seniors, chronic inflammation is one of the primary drivers of heart disease. But there's another factor that makes breakfast even more critical for seniors: morning cortisol levels. When you wake up, your body naturally releases cortisol. It's called the cortisol awakening response. This is normal and healthy. But here's the problem. Cortisol raises your blood sugar and increases your blood pressure. It's your body's way of giving you energy to start the day. Now, if you eat a breakfast that also spikes your blood sugar, you're essentially doubling down on that stress response. Your cortisol is already pushing your blood sugar and blood pressure up, and then you add food that does the same thing. For a senior heart that's already working harder than it did when you were younger, this double whammy can be devastating. Dr. William Davis, the cardiologist who wrote Wheat Belly, has treated thousands of senior patients, and he told me in an interview that the number one dietary change that produces the fastest improvement in his senior patients is changing what they eat for breakfast. He said, "I can predict with remarkable accuracy which of my patients will have cardiovascular problems based solely on what they eat in the morning." It's that significant. There's also something called postprandial inflammation. That's inflammation that occurs after eating. Studies show that certain breakfast foods trigger much more inflammation than others, and this inflammatory response is significantly worse in people over 60. Your immune system becomes less regulated with age, and it tends to overreact to foods that might not have bothered you when you were younger. Think about it this way. Your body is like a car. When the car is new, it can handle low-quality fuel pretty well. But as the car ages, using the wrong fuel causes immediate problems. SISN. Knocking poor performance, increased wear and tear. Your 60-year-old body is that aging car, and what you put in it for breakfast is the fuel that either supports it or damages it. Now, the breakfast food I'm about to reveal is so problematic because it creates a perfect storm of these issues. Massive blood sugar spike. High inflammatory response. Cardiovascular system is most vulnerable. But before I tell you what it is, you need to understand one more critical piece of the puzzle. The big reveal: breakfast cereal. The breakfast food that cardiologists avoid and that you should stop eating after 60 is breakfast cereal. Yes, even the ones marketed as heart-healthy, whole grain, and high fiber. I know some of you are thinking, wait, but my doctor told me to eat whole grain cereal for fiber and heart health. I understand. For decades, cereal has been positioned as the smart breakfast choice, especially for seniors. But here's what's happened. The science has changed, but the marketing hasn't caught up. Or more accurately, the food industry doesn't want the marketing to catch up because they make billions of dollars from seniors who buy these products thinking they're making a healthy choice. Let me show you what's really in that bowl of heart-healthy cereal you might be eating. Pick up any popular cereal box right now. I'll wait. Look at the nutrition label. Most breakfast cereals, even the ones marketed to seniors, contain between 12 and 25 grams of sugar per serving. Some of the sweetened varieties contain up to 30 grams. That's equivalent to 6 to 7 teaspoons of pure sugar in a single bowl. But here's the thing that makes it even worse. That serving size on the box, it's usually 3/4 of a cup or 1 cup. Be honest, when was the last time you measured out exactly 3/4 of a cup of cereal? Most people pour at least 1.5 to 2 cups, which means they're actually consuming 20 to 40 grams of sugar at breakfast. That's more sugar than in a can of soda. Now, you might be thinking about the cereals that claim to have no added sugar or the plain brand cereals. Here's the problem. Even without added sugar, the cereal itself is a highly processed, high glycemic food. The grains have been pulverized, cooked at high temperatures, and extruded through machines to create those flakes, puffs, or shapes. This processing destroys most of the nutrients and creates a product that your body converts to glucose almost as quickly as if you were eating pure sugar. A study from the University of Sydney that measured the glycemic index of common breakfast foods found that most breakfast cereals, even whole grain varieties, have a glycemic index of 70 to 85. To put that in perspective, pure glucose has a glycemic index of 100. Table sugar is 65. So most breakfast cereals spike your blood sugar faster than eating straight table sugar. Dr. David Ludwig at Harvard Medical School conducted a fascinating experiment. He had people eat different breakfasts while monitoring their blood sugar continuously throughout the day. When people ate cereal for breakfast, their blood sugar spiked to an average of 140 milligrams per deciliter within 30 minutes, then crashed to below 70 within 2 hours. This roller coaster continued all day long, with people experiencing cravings and energy crashes. But when the same people ate eggs and vegetables for breakfast, their blood sugar stayed stable between 80 and 100 all morning. For seniors over 60, this is critical because your blood vessels are less elastic than they were when you were younger. Every time your blood sugar spikes, it damages the delicate lining of your arteries. It's like sandpaper scraping the inside of your blood vessels. Over time, this creates scarring and inflammation that leads directly to plaque buildup, high blood pressure, and eventually, heart attacks and strokes. Let me tell you about Richard, a 7-year-old patient of Dr. Mitchell's that she told me about. Richard had been eating the same Heart Healthy brand cereal every morning for 20 years. He thought he was doing everything right. His cholesterol was okay. He walked every day. He didn't smoke. But his blood pressure kept creeping up. He was on 2 blood pressure medications, and his doctor was about to add a third. Dr. Mitchell asked him to do one thing: stop eating cereal for breakfast and switch to eggs and vegetables instead. Richard was skeptical, but agreed to try it for 30 days. After just 2 weeks, his morning blood pressure readings started dropping. After 1 month, his systolic pressure had dropped 18 points. After 3 months, he was able to stop one of his blood pressure medications entirely. The only thing he changed was eliminating that morning bowl of cereal. Now, here's what makes this even more insidious: why cereal marketing is deceptive. The cereal industry has done an incredibly effective job of convincing us that their products are healthy, especially for seniors. Let's talk about some of the deceptive marketing tactics they use, because once you see them, you'll never fall for them again. First, there's the Heart Healthy claim to put a heart check mark on their products if the product met certain very loose criteria. Even cereals with high sugar content qualified, as long as they were low in fat and sodium. The program was eventually discontinued because of criticism, but the damage was done. People still associate cereal with heart health. Second, there's the whole grain marketing. Yes, many cereals are made from whole grains, but here's what they don't tell you. Once those whole grains are processed into cereal through high heat and high pressure, they lose most of their nutritional value and all of the benefits that real whole grains provide. It's like saying a French fry is healthy because it came from a potato. The processing changes everything. Dr. Robert Lustig, a pediatric endocrinologist who has extensively studied sugar and processed foods, explains it this way: the food industry has weaponized the concept of whole grain. They take a whole grain, which in its natural state would be beneficial, and they process it so extensively that it behaves in your body exactly like refined grain. But they can still legally call it whole grain and market it as healthy. Third, there's the fortification scam. Cereal boxes proudly display all the vitamins and minerals that have been added back: iron, B vitamins, folic acid. But here's the truth. These synthetic vitamins are added because the processing destroyed the natural vitamins that were in the grain. It's like taking a fresh apple, removing all its nutrients, and then spraying it with a vitamin solution and calling it fortified. Why not just eat the apple in the first place? A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that the synthetic vitamins added to fortified cereals are far less bioavailable than vitamins from whole foods. Your body doesn't absorb them as well, and they don't provide the same health benefits. In some cases, high doses of synthetic vitamins can actually be harmful. Now, let me address the fiber argument, because I know some of you are thinking, but I need the fiber from cereal for my digestion. Yes, fiber is important, especially for seniors, but cereal is one of the worst ways to get it. The fiber in cereal is often isolated, processed fiber that doesn't have the same benefits as fiber from vegetables, fruits, and nuts. Moreover, there's a trade-off happening. You're getting some processed fiber, but you're also getting a massive dose of blood sugar spiking carbohydrates. It's like saying cigarettes are healthy because they contain vitamin C. The harmful effects far outweigh any potential benefits. Let me share another patient story. Margaret, a 71-year-old woman, had been eating high-fiber brand cereal every morning for years to help with constipation. She also happened to have high triglycerides and was pre-diabetic. Her cardiologist suggested she switch to having chia seed pudding made with full-fat coconut milk and berries for breakfast instead. Margaret was worried about losing her fiber source, but here's what happened. The chia seeds provided even more fiber than her cereal, but without the blood sugar spike. Within 6 weeks, her triglycerides dropped by 80 points, her fasting blood sugar came down from 118 to 94, and surprisingly, her digestion actually improved. The healthy fats from the coconut milk also helped her feel satisfied all morning, whereas she used to feel hungry an hour after eating cereal. The cereal industry knows exactly what they're doing. They specifically target seniors with health claims because they know seniors are concerned about their health and are willing to pay premium prices for products that promise benefits. But those promises are built on outdated science and clever marketing, not on what's actually best for your aging heart. In fact, if you look at the ingredients in most breakfast cereals, you'll find things that should never be in your food. BHT, a preservative, artificial colors, natural flavors, which aren't natural at all, and multiple forms of added sugar disguised under different names like corn syrup, maltodextrin, dextrose, and rice syrup. In fact, if you look at the ingredients in most breakfast cereals, you'll find things that should never be in your food. BHT, a preservative that's banned in some countries, artificial colors, natural flavors, which aren't natural at all, and multiple forms of added sugar disguised under different names like corn syrup, maltodextrin, dextrose, and rice syrup. But there's one ingredient that's particularly harmful for senior hearts, and it's hiding in almost every cereal box. Vegetable oil. Remember in our first video when I talked about how vegetable oils are inflammatory and dangerous after 60? Many cereals contain soybean oil or canola oil to prevent the cereal from going stale. These oils are high in omega-6 fatty acids that promote inflammation in your cardiovascular system. Let me explain what happens in your body during the 2 hours after you eat a bowl of cereal. Within 15 minutes, that processed grain hits your digestive system and starts breaking down into glucose. By 30 minutes, your blood sugar has spiked, often to 130, 140, or even 150 milligrams per deciliter if you're insulin resistant, which most people over 60 are to some degree. This spike triggers your pancreas to release a flood of insulin to bring that sugar down. For a young person with a healthy pancreas, this isn't ideal, but they can handle it. But for someone over 60, especially if you've been eating cereal every morning for years, your pancreas is tired. It's been overworking for decades. This constant demand for insulin production leads to what's called pancreatic exhaustion, which is a precursor to type 2 diabetes. Dr. Jason Fung, a nephrologist who specializes in metabolic health, explains it like this. Every time you spike your blood sugar with a high glycemic breakfast like cereal, you're whipping your pancreas like a tired horse. Eventually, that horse can't run anymore. And when your pancreas can't produce adequate insulin, that's when we diagnose diabetes. But the damage started years earlier with those daily bowls of healthy cereal. Now, here's where it gets really scary for your heart. That insulin spike doesn't just lower your blood sugar, it also tells your body to store fat, particularly around your midsection. This visceral fat, the fat around your organs, is metabolically active, meaning it produces inflammatory chemicals that directly damage your heart and blood vessels. A study from Johns Hopkins followed 2,000 seniors for 10 years and found that those who ate high glycemic breakfasts, particularly cereal, had significantly more visceral fat accumulation than those who ate protein and fat-based breakfasts, even when total calories were the same. More visceral fat means more inflammation, which means higher risk of heart disease. But wait, there's more. About 90 minutes after eating cereal, your blood sugar crashes. You've probably experienced this, that mid-morning slump where you suddenly feel hungry, tired, maybe even shaky or irritable. That's reactive hypoglycemia, and it's your body's response to that initial spike. Your pancreas actually overcompensates and pushes your blood sugar too low. When your blood sugar crashes, your body perceives this as an emergency. It releases stress hormones, cortisol, and adrenaline to bring your blood sugar back up. But these stress hormones also raise your blood pressure and make your heart beat faster. So within a 2-hour window after eating cereal, your senior heart has experienced a massive spike in blood sugar, a flood of insulin, fat storage signals, and then a stress response. And you do this every single morning. Dr. Mark Hyman calls this metabolic whiplash, and he says it's one of the most damaging patterns for senior cardiovascular health. The constant up and down of blood sugar creates oxidative stress throughout your entire circulatory system. It's like putting your heart through a roller coaster ride every morning before you've even left your house. Let me share one more patient story that really illustrates this. Thomas, a 69-year-old retired engineer, came to his cardiologist complaining of heart palpitations, especially in the late morning. His doctor ran every test, EKG, stress test, Holter monitor, and couldn't find anything structurally wrong with his heart. The palpitations were real, but the cause was a mystery. Finally, a nurse practitioner asked Thomas to keep a detailed food diary for 2 weeks, including the exact times he ate and when he experienced palpitations. The pattern was undeniable. Every single day, Thomas ate cereal around 7 a.m., and every single day, he experienced palpitations between 9 and 10 a.m. That was his blood sugar crash window. The doctor had Thomas switch to eggs and avocado for breakfast. Within 1 week, the palpitations stopped completely. Thomas couldn't believe something as simple as changing his breakfast could eliminate a problem he'd been worried about for months. But it makes perfect sense when you understand how cereal affects your senior cardiovascular system. Now, I know some of you are probably feeling defensive right now. Maybe you've been eating cereal for decades. Maybe it's comforting, maybe it's convenient, maybe it reminds you of simpler times. I understand, but you have to ask yourself, is that bowl of cereal worth the damage it's doing to your heart? The good news is you don't have to suffer. You don't have to eat boring or complicated breakfasts. In just a moment, I'm going to give you 3 delicious breakfast alternatives that will actually protect your heart, keep your blood sugar stable, and leave you feeling satisfied until lunch. But first, let me tell you why cardiologists specifically avoid cereal and what they eat instead. Why cardiologists avoid cereal? I've had the privilege of interviewing several cardiologists about their personal eating habits, and almost universally, they avoid breakfast cereal. But why? These are the people who see the consequences of poor dietary choices every single day. They're looking inside people's arteries with cameras. They're seeing the plaque, the inflammation, the blockages, and they know what causes it. Dr. Stephen Gundry, a cardiac surgeon with over 40 years of experience, told me something I'll never forget. He said, "When I perform heart surgery and I see the inside of someone's arteries, I can almost tell you what they eat for breakfast. The people with the most inflamed, plaque-ridden arteries, they're almost always the ones eating cereal and juice every morning. The people with the cleanest arteries, they're eating eggs, they're eating avocados, they're eating vegetables. The pattern is so consistent, it's undeniable." Another cardiologist, Dr. William Davis, explained it from a clinical perspective. "I spent years telling my patients to eat whole grain cereal and skim milk for breakfast because that's what we were taught in medical school. But I watched those same patients come back year after year with worsening heart disease, despite taking their medications and following my advice. It wasn't until I started looking at the actual metabolic effects of these foods that I realized I had been giving harmful advice." Dr. Davis now recommends that all his senior patients eliminate cereal completely. He says the single dietary change that produces the fastest improvement in cardiovascular markers is removing breakfast cereal and replacing it with protein and healthy fats. He's measured this in hundreds of patients over the past decade. Here's what happens when his patients stop eating cereal. Within 2 weeks, their triglycerides start dropping. Within 4 weeks, their fasting blood sugar improves. Within 8 weeks, their blood pressure usually decreases. And within 3 months, inflammatory markers like C, reactive protein, a key indicator of cardiovascular inflammation, often drop by 30 to 50%. But it's not just about what cardiologists avoid, it's about what they eat instead. I asked several heart doctors what they personally eat for breakfast, and the answers were remarkably consistent. Dr. Mitchell eats eggs cooked in olive oil with sautéed vegetables, usually spinach, mushrooms, and tomatoes. She told me, I need protein and fat to start my day. It keeps my blood sugar stable, my energy consistent, and my mind clear. I haven't had cereal in probably 15 years, and my cardiovascular health is better now in my 50s than it was in my 30s when I was eating cereal every day. Dr. Gundry eats what he calls a big-ass salad for breakfast, mixed greens with avocado, olive oil, nuts, and sometimes leftover chicken or fish from dinner. Most people think salad for breakfast is weird, but he says, why is it weird? Vegetables are the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet. If they're good for lunch and dinner, they're good for breakfast. The only reason we don't eat them in the morning is because cereal companies convinced us that breakfast should be sweet and grain-based. Dr. Aseem Malhotra, a British cardiologist, eats full-fat Greek yogurt with berries, nuts, and a drizzle of honey. He emphasizes the importance of fat. For years, we told people to eat low-fat, everything. But we now know that healthy fats are crucial for cardiovascular health, especially for seniors. Fat doesn't spike your blood sugar, it keeps you satisfied, and it's necessary for hormone production and cell membrane health. The common thread among all these cardiologists is this. They prioritize protein and healthy fats at breakfast, they include vegetables when possible, and they avoid anything that spikes blood sugar. None of them eat cereal, none of them drink juice, and all of them have remarkable cardiovascular health despite high-stress careers and long working hours. Now, you might be thinking, that's great for doctors with nutritional knowledge and cooking skills, but what about regular people? What about me? Don't worry. I'm about to give you 3 simple, delicious breakfast options that require minimal cooking skills and can be prepared quickly. These are breakfasts that will protect your heart, stabilize your blood sugar, and actually taste good. But before we get to those alternatives, I want to make one more point about why this matters so much. Every single day that you eat cereal for breakfast, you're choosing inflammation over healing. You're choosing blood sugar chaos over stability. You're choosing to make your heart work harder instead of supporting it. And here's the thing, your heart can't tell you when it's struggling until it's too late. Heart disease develops silently over years, and by the time you have symptoms, the damage is already significant. But the opposite is also true. Every single day that you choose a better breakfast, you're giving your heart a chance to heal. You're reducing inflammation. You're allowing your blood vessels to relax and repair. And the changes happen faster than you think. Now, let's talk about what you should eat instead of cereal. These 3 breakfast options are specifically designed for seniors over 60 who want to protect their hearts. What to eat instead? 3 heart-healthy breakfasts. Breakfast option number 1. Eggs with vegetables. This is the gold standard breakfast for heart health after 60, and it's what most cardiologists eat themselves. Here's why eggs are so good for your senior heart. They're packed with high-quality protein that your aging muscles desperately need. They contain choline, which is crucial for brain health and actually helps prevent the buildup of homocysteine, an inflammatory marker that damages arteries. And despite what you've been told for decades, the cholesterol in eggs does not increase your risk of heart disease. Multiple large studies have proven this. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition followed over 200,000 people and found no association between egg consumption and heart disease. In fact, people who ate eggs regularly had better overall health markers than those who avoided them. Here's the simplest way to make this breakfast. Heat a tablespoon of olive oil or butter in a pan over medium heat. Add whatever vegetables you have, spinach, peppers, onions, mushrooms, tomatoes, and sauté them for 2 to 3 minutes. Crack 2 or 3 eggs into the pan, scramble them with the vegetables, and you're done. Total time, 5 minutes. Season with salt, pepper, and herbs. The vegetables add fiber, vitamins, and phytonutrients that protect your blood vessels. The eggs provide protein that keeps you full for hours and stabilizes your blood sugar. And the healthy fat from the olive oil or butter helps your body absorb the nutrients and keeps your hormones balanced. If you're not a fan of scrambled eggs, try them poached, soft-boiled, or as an omelet. The key is to include vegetables and use a healthy fat for cooking. Avoid cooking with vegetable oil or margarine. And remember, those are inflammatory for senior hearts. Breakfast option number 2, full-fat Greek yogurt bowl. Now, before you object based on what I said in video number 1 about low-fat yogurt, let me be clear. Full-fat, plain Greek yogurt is completely different from the sweetened, low-fat yogurt I warned you about. Here's why this breakfast works. The protein in Greek yogurt is excellent for maintaining muscle mass after 60. The probiotics support gut health, which is directly connected to heart health through something called the gut-heart axis. And the natural fat helps control your appetite and doesn't spike your blood sugar. Here's how to make it. Start with 1 cup of full-fat, plain Greek yogurt. Add a handful of fresh berries, blueberries, strawberries, or raspberries. These are low in sugar compared to other fruits and high in antioxidants that protect your heart. Add a small handful of raw nuts, walnuts, almonds, or pecans for healthy fats and more protein. If you need a touch of sweetness, add a teaspoon of raw honey. That's it. The key word here is plain. Do not buy the flavored Greek yogurts, even if they say honey or vanilla. Those are loaded with added sugar. You want plain yogurt that you flavor yourself. This way, you control exactly how much sweetness you add, and it's far less than what the manufacturers put in. This breakfast takes literally 2 minutes to prepare, requires no cooking, and can even be prepared the night before if you're rushed in the morning. Some people like to add a tablespoon of ground flaxseed or chia seeds for extra fiber and omega-3 fatty acids, which is an excellent addition for heart health. Dr. Malhotra, the cardiologist I mentioned earlier, has put hundreds of his senior patients on this breakfast, and he says the results are remarkable. Blood sugar stabilizes, energy levels improve, and many people report that they stop craving sweets by mid-morning because the protein and fat keep them satisfied. Breakfast option number 3, avocado toast, but done right. Now, I know avocado toast has become a cliche, but there's a reason it's popular. It's actually good for you, especially for senior heart health. But we're going to do it correctly, not the way trendy cafes serve it on white bread with too much salt. Here's how to make heart-healthy avocado toast. Start with 1 slice of authentic sourdough bread. Not the fake sourdough from the grocery store, but real, traditionally fermented sourdough from a bakery. The fermentation process breaks down the inflammatory compounds in wheat and lowers the glycemic impact significantly. 1 slice is plenty. Remember, we're not making this a carb-heavy meal. Toast that bread lightly. While it's toasting, mash half an avocado with a fork. Add a squeeze of lemon juice, a pinch of salt, and some black pepper. When the toast is ready, spread the avocado on it generously. Top it with a poached or fried egg. The egg is crucial. Don't skip it. That's where most of your protein is coming from. Optional additions: sliced tomatoes, microgreens, a sprinkle of hemp seeds, or everything bagel seasoning. These add flavor and nutrients without adding sugar or inflammatory ingredients. Why does this breakfast work for senior heart health? The avocado provides healthy monounsaturated fats that lower bad cholesterol and raise good cholesterol. It's also rich in potassium, which helps regulate blood pressure. The egg provides protein and choline. And the small amount of sourdough gives you some carbohydrates for energy without the massive blood sugar spike of cereal. A study from Pennsylvania State University found that people who ate avocado regularly had lower levels of oxidized LDL cholesterol, the most dangerous type that contributes to plaque buildup. The healthy fats in avocado actually protect your arteries from damage. These 3 breakfasts, eggs with vegetables, Greek yogurt bowl, and avocado toast with egg, are your new rotation. You can alternate them throughout the week or stick with your favorite. The important thing is that you've eliminated the blood sugar spiking, inflammation-causing cereal, and replaced it with real food that supports your heart. Now, I know change is hard, especially when we're talking about a breakfast habit you've had for years or even decades. So I'm going to give you a simple 7-day transition plan that makes this change as easy as possible. 7-day transition plan. Here's your 7-day plan to transition away from cereal to heart-healthy breakfasts. This plan is designed to be gentle and sustainable, not a dramatic cold turkey approach that leaves you feeling deprived. Day 1 and 2 start with awareness. These first 2 days, I want you to still eat your cereal, but I want you to pay close attention to how you feel. Notice your energy level 30 minutes after eating, then 1 hour after, then 2 hours after. Notice if you get hungry or experience cravings mid-morning. Notice if you feel sluggish or energetic. Write it down. This awareness is crucial because it will motivate you when you see the contrast with how you feel after eating a better breakfast. Day 3. This is your transition day. Have half your usual portion of cereal and add one hard-boiled egg on the side. You're reducing the cereal but not eliminating it yet, so it won't feel like a dramatic change. The egg will provide protein that helps stabilize your blood sugar. Hard-boil a batch of eggs at the beginning of the week so they're ready to grab. Day 4. Replace your cereal entirely with the Greek yogurt bowl I described earlier. Full-fat, plain Greek yogurt, berries, nuts, and a touch of honey. See how you feel throughout the morning. Most people are amazed at how much more energetic and satisfied they feel compared to cereal days. Day 5. Make eggs with vegetables for breakfast. This might feel like it takes too much time if you're not used to it, but remember, it's only 5 minutes. You spend more time than that scrolling on your phone in the morning. Your heart is worth 5 minutes. Notice how satisfied you feel, how your energy stays stable, how you're not hungry an hour later. Day 6. Try the avocado toast with egg. Again, notice how you feel. By this point, you've tried all 3 heart-healthy breakfast options, and you probably have a favorite. You also have a direct comparison in your body between cereal days and real food days. Day 7. This is your choice day. Eat whichever of the 3 breakfasts you enjoyed most. This is also the day you get rid of the cereal. I'm serious, throw it away or give it away. Don't keep it in your house as a backup or for emergencies. Having it available makes it too tempting to slide back into old habits. Now, let's talk about common challenges and how to overcome them. Challenge number 1. I don't have time to cook breakfast. Here's the truth. These breakfasts take 5 minutes or less. Greek yogurt bowl takes 2 minutes. Avocado toast takes 4 minutes. Scrambled eggs take 5 minutes. That's the same amount of time it takes to pour cereal in a bowl, add milk, and eat it. And if you really are that rushed, hard-boil eggs in advance, or eat the Greek yogurt bowl, which requires 0 cooking. Challenge number 2. These breakfasts are more expensive than cereal. Actually, they're not if you do the math. A box of healthy cereal costs $5 to $7 and lasts about a week. A dozen eggs costs $3 to $5 and also lasts about a week if you eat 2 per day. A container of plain Greek yogurt costs $4 to $5 and provides 3 to 4 servings. Avocados are about $1 each. The cost is comparable, but the value to your health is incomparable. Challenge number 3. I'll miss the crunch and sweetness of cereal. This is real, I get it. Cereal is comforting. But here's the thing. After about 2 weeks of not eating it, your taste buds reset. Foods that used to taste bland will taste flavorful. The natural sweetness in berries will taste sweet enough. And if you really miss crunch, add nuts to your yogurt or have some raw vegetables on the side. The craving for cereal specifically will fade faster than you think. Challenge number 4. What will my spouse think? We've always eaten cereal together. Have an honest conversation with your partner. Share this video with them. Explain that you're making this change for your heart health. Invite them to try the new breakfasts with you. Many couples tell me that when one person changes their breakfast and feels dramatically better, the other person naturally wants to try it too. One more thing. If you slip up and eat cereal one day, don't beat yourself up and don't give up. Just get back on track the next morning. Change is a process, not perfection. Every single healthy breakfast you eat is supporting your heart, even if you occasionally have a less than ideal one. After about 3 weeks of eating these heart-healthy breakfasts consistently, you'll notice changes. Your energy will be more stable. You'll stop getting that mid-morning slump. You might even notice that your clothes fit a little better because you're losing that inflammatory belly fat. And if you get blood work done after a couple months, don't be surprised if your doctor comments on improvements in your triglycerides, blood sugar, or inflammatory markers. Your heart will thank you, even if it can't speak. But trust me, reducing that daily inflammatory assault from cereal is one of the best gifts you can give your cardiovascular system. Alright, let's wrap this up with a quick recap and an important announcement about next week's video. So let's recap what we've covered today. The one breakfast food that's destroying senior hearts is cereal. Yes, even the heart-healthy varieties that are marketed to people over 60. Cereal causes massive blood sugar spikes, triggers inflammation, exhausts your pancreas, and creates metabolic chaos that directly damages your cardiovascular system. Cardiologists know this, which is why they don't eat cereal themselves. Instead, they eat protein and fat-based breakfasts, eggs with vegetables, Greek yogurt with berries and nuts, or avocado toast with an egg. These breakfasts stabilize blood sugar, provide nutrients your aging body needs, and actually protect your heart instead of harming it. I've given you a 7-day transition plan to move away from cereal to these heart-healthy alternatives. And I've addressed the common challenges you might face so you're prepared to overcome them. Here's what I want you to do right now. Go to your kitchen and look at that cereal box. Read the nutrition label. Look at the sugar content. Look at the ingredients list. Really see what you've been putting in your body every morning. Then make the decision to change. Your heart has been beating for you every second of every day for your entire life. It's time to give it the support it deserves. Before you go, I have 2 important announcements. First, I've created a free downloadable guide called 7-Day Heart Healthy Breakfast Plan for Seniors that includes shopping lists, simple recipes, and meal prep tips. You'll find the link to download it in the description below this video and pinned in the comments. This guide will make your transition so much easier. Second, next week's video is going to blow your mind. I'm going to reveal the one vegetable that most people think is healthy, but that actually increases your risk of heart disease after 60. This vegetable is in almost every healthy salad. It's recommended by nutritionists, and it's completely wrong for senior heart health. You don't want to miss this one. Now, please do me 3 favors. First, hit that thumbs up button if this video opened your eyes about breakfast cereal. Second, subscribe to this channel and click the notification bell because I release a new heart health video for seniors every single week, and each one could literally add years to your life. Third, share this video with any friends or family members over 60 who eat cereal for breakfast. You could save them from a heart attack. And speaking of our previous videos, if you haven't watched them yet, go back and watch video number 1 about the 5 heart-healthy foods to avoid after 60, and video number 2 about the 5 exercises that are better than walking for senior heart health. Together, these 3 videos form a complete system for protecting your aging heart through nutrition and movement. Drop a comment below and tell me, are you going to stop eating cereal? Which of the 3 breakfast alternatives are you going to try first? I read every single comment, and I love hearing from you about your experiences and questions. Remember, changing your breakfast is one of the simplest but most powerful things you can do for your heart health after 60. You don't need expensive supplements. You don't need complicated meal plans. You just need to stop eating cereal and start eating real food. It's that simple, and it's that important. Thank you so much for watching today. I know this information might be hard to hear, especially if you've been eating cereal for years. But knowledge is power, and now you have the knowledge to make a better choice. Your heart is counting on you. I'll see you next week for that video about the surprising vegetable you should avoid. Until then, take care of that heart, and I'll talk to you soon. If I told you there's a vegetable that spikes your blood sugar faster than eating pure sugar, and that doctors are now warning seniors to avoid it completely, you probably wouldn't believe me. But this vegetable is sitting on dinner plates across America right now, in senior homes, in hospitals, even in cardiac rehabilitation centers. And cardiologists are finally speaking out about the damage it's doing to aging hearts. My name is Heart Health After 60, and what I'm about to share with you might make you angry. Because this vegetable has been marketed as healthy for decades, it's on every government food guide. It's recommended by nutritionists, and your doctor has probably never warned you about it. In fact, when I interviewed several cardiologists for this video, they told me they were shocked when they first learned the truth about this vegetable themselves. 3 weeks ago, I received an email from a viewer named Dorothy. She's 68 years old, and she wrote, "I've been watching your videos and making changes to my diet. I stopped eating cereal for breakfast, like you recommended, but I'm still eating what I think are healthy dinners, usually a piece of grilled chicken, a salad, and a baked potato. My doctor said baked potatoes are a healthy, complex carbohydrate, but my blood sugar is still high. What am I doing wrong? Dorothy's question led me down a research path that uncovered something disturbing. The vegetable I'm about to reveal has a glycemic index higher than a candy bar. It causes blood sugar spikes that are more extreme than drinking a can of soda. And for seniors over 60, eating this vegetable regularly is directly linked to increased risk of heart disease, stroke, and diabetes complications. Yet it's still classified as a healthy vegetable by the USDA. In the next 22 minutes, I'm going to reveal exactly what this vegetable is, show you the scientific studies that prove why it's so dangerous after 60, and most importantly, give you 3 delicious alternatives that taste just as good but actually protect your heart instead of damaging it. I'll also share what happened when I sent Dorothy the information I discovered. Her transformation will inspire you. Now, before we continue, I need you to understand something important. I'm not anti-vegetable. Vegetables are crucial for health, especially after 60. But not all vegetables are created equal, and the one I'm about to reveal is in a category all by itself when it comes to harming senior cardiovascular systems. So please keep watching, because even if you think you already know what vegetable I'm talking about, the reasons it's harmful will probably surprise you. If you're getting value from this series, please hit that subscribe button. We've already covered the 5 heart-healthy foods to avoid, the 5 exercises better than walking, and the breakfast food that's destroying senior hearts. This is video number 4 in our comprehensive heart health series for people over 60, and each video builds on the previous ones to give you a complete system for protecting your aging heart. Alright, let's start by talking about why not all vegetables are created equal, especially after age 60. Why not all vegetables are equal after 60? Here's something that most people don't understand. Just because a food is a vegetable doesn't automatically make it healthy for your heart after 60. The assumption that vegetables equals good, period, is dangerously oversimplified, especially when we're talking about senior cardiovascular health. Let me explain what changes in your body after 60 that makes certain vegetables problematic. Your metabolism slows down significantly. On average, you burn 200 to 300 fewer calories per day than you did in your 30s. Your insulin sensitivity decreases, meaning your cells don't respond to insulin as efficiently, and your body's ability to handle large amounts of glucose, blood sugar, becomes impaired. These are normal aging processes, but they fundamentally change how your body processes different types of foods. Dr. David Ludwig at Harvard Medical School has spent decades studying how different foods affect metabolism, and he's made a crucial distinction that most people miss. Not all carbohydrates behave the same way in your body. Some vegetables are primarily fiber and water with minimal impact on blood sugar. Think leafy greens, broccoli, peppers, cucumbers. These are fantastic for seniors, but other vegetables are high in rapidly digestible starches that behave almost identically to eating pure sugar. And it's these starchy vegetables that are the problem. A groundbreaking study published in the New England Journal of Medicine in 2011 followed over 120,000 adults for 20 years, tracking their food intake and weight changes. The researchers found that certain vegetables were associated with weight loss and better health, while one particular category of vegetables was associated with weight gain and increased diabetes risk, even more so than eating sweets. That category? Starchy vegetables, and one specific vegetable stood out as the worst offender. Here's what happens when you eat a high-starch vegetable. Within 15 to 20 minutes, that starch begins breaking down into glucose in your digestive system. By 30 minutes, if you're eating the vegetable I'm about to reveal, your blood sugar can spike from a normal 90 milligrams per deciliter all the way up to 150 or even 170. That's a massive spike, and for seniors with any degree of insulin resistance, which is most people over 60, it's devastating. Dr. Robert Lustig, a pediatric endocrinologist who has extensively studied metabolic health, explains it this way. Your body doesn't distinguish between starch and sugar. Once that starch hits your digestive system, it breaks down into glucose molecules. If it breaks down rapidly, it floods your bloodstream with glucose, just like eating candy would. The only difference is that we call one a vegetable and feel virtuous eating it, while we know the other is junk food. Now, you might be thinking, but vegetables have fiber, and fiber is good for me. Yes, fiber is important, but here's the critical detail. The ratio of starch to fiber matters enormously. A vegetable that's 90% rapidly digestible starch and only 10% fiber is going to behave in your body almost like eating pure starch, because that small amount of fiber can't slow down the glucose absorption enough to make a meaningful difference. Think about it this way. If you eat 37 grams of carbohydrates with only 4 grams of fiber, which, spoiler alert, is exactly what you get from one serving of the vegetable I'm about to reveal, you're getting 33 grams of net carbs. That's equivalent to eating 8 teaspoons of sugar. Your body doesn't care that it came from a vegetable. It responds to the glucose load. For seniors over 60, these repeated blood sugar spikes are catastrophic for heart health. Each spike damages the delicate lining of your arteries through a process called glycation. This is where excess glucose in your bloodstream literally sticks to the proteins in your blood vessel walls, creating what scientists call AGEs, advanced glycation end products. These AGEs make your arteries stiff and inflamed, which leads directly to high blood pressure, arterial plaque, and eventually heart attacks and strokes. A study from the Joslin Diabetes Center at Harvard found that people who frequently consumed high glycemic vegetables had significantly higher levels of these AGEs in their bloodstream compared to people who ate primarily low glycemic vegetables. Higher AGEs meant stiffer arteries, higher blood pressure, and increased cardiovascular events. The difference wasn't small, it was dramatic. But here's what makes this particularly insidious. Because this food is classified as a vegetable, most seniors eat it thinking they're making a healthy choice. It's recommended in meal plans. It's served in hospitals. It's what well-meaning family members prepare for elderly relatives. And all the while, it's quietly contributing to the very heart disease that people are trying to prevent. Now, are you ready to know what this vegetable is? I'm going to reveal it right now, and I guarantee some of you will be shocked. Others might be defensive because you love this food. But I'm going to show you the science, and the science is undeniable. The big reveal: white potatoes. The vegetable that's secretly destroying senior hearts is the white potato. Yes, the common white potato, whether it's baked, mashed, boiled, or roasted, and especially in its most common form, French fries. I can already hear some of you saying, wait, but potatoes are a vegetable. They're a complex carbohydrate. My doctor said they're fine. I understand. This is going to challenge everything you've been told. But stay with me, because the science is absolutely clear, and once you understand it, you'll never look at a potato the same way again. Let's start with the most damning evidence: the glycemic index. The glycemic index measures how quickly a food raises your blood sugar on a scale of 0 to 100, with pure glucose being 100. Foods with a glycemic index above 70 are considered high and should be limited, especially for seniors. Now, guess what the glycemic index of a baked white potato is? It's 85. Let me repeat that: 85. To put that in perspective, table sugar has a glycemic index of 65. White bread is 75. A Snickers candy bar is 55. So a baked potato spikes your blood sugar faster and higher than eating straight table sugar, faster than white bread, and dramatically faster than eating a candy bar. If I told you to eat a bowl of sugar for dinner, you'd think I was crazy. But that's essentially what you're doing when you eat a potato, at least in terms of how your body processes it. Dr. Jenny Brandmiller, a professor at the University of Sydney who literally wrote the book on glycemic index, has published over 250 papers on this topic. She told me in an interview, the white potato is one of the most problematic foods for blood sugar control, especially for older adults. It's not just the high glycemic index, it's also the portion sizes people eat. A large baked potato can deliver 50 to 60 grams of rapidly absorbed carbohydrates in a single serving. That's like eating 12 to 15 teaspoons of sugar at once. Now, you might be thinking, but potatoes are natural, they come from the ground. How can they be worse than processed sugar? Here's the thing. Natural doesn't always mean healthy for your particular body at your particular age. Hemlock is natural. Poison ivy is natural. The question isn't whether something is natural. The question is what it does to your body. When you eat a white potato, here's exactly what happens. That potato is primarily starch, long chains of glucose molecules. When you chew and swallow it, enzymes in your saliva and digestive system start breaking those starch chains apart into individual glucose molecules. Because potatoes have relatively little fiber to slow this process down, and because the starch in potatoes is particularly easy to digest, those glucose molecules flood into your bloodstream rapidly. Within 20 to 30 minutes of eating a potato, your blood sugar skyrockets. Your pancreas detects this and releases a massive dose of insulin to bring that sugar down. But here's the problem for seniors. After decades of these repeated insulin surges, from potatoes, from cereal, from bread, from all the high glycemic foods we've been told are healthy, your cells become resistant to insulin. They stop responding as well. So your pancreas has to produce even more insulin to get the job done. This chronic state of high insulin is called hyperinsulinemia, and it's incredibly damaging to your cardiovascular system. High insulin levels promote inflammation throughout your arteries. They signal your body to store fat, particularly around your midsection, that visceral fat that's so dangerous for heart health. And they contribute directly to high blood pressure by causing your kidneys to retain sodium and water. A landmark study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association followed 84,000 women for 20 years. The researchers found that women who ate potatoes frequently, 5 or more times per week, had a 20% higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes compared to women who ate potatoes less than once per week. And diabetes, as you probably know, dramatically increases your risk of heart disease. But it gets worse. Remember those AGEs I mentioned earlier, advanced glycation